What is going on, everyone? Welcome to a very special edition of Coast to Coast Comments. Man, let me tell you right now, it's gonna be dope. We're gonna have a great time hanging out with, you know, a thing or two people that knows about comics, creators, writers. We're gonna find out what they've been thinking. We're gonna pick their minds and see how they do their work. With that being said, ladies and gents, uh, excuse me 1 second right now. I'm gonna bring in my co-host right now. This guy knows a thing or two because he's been hanging around about, he's been hanging around a bunch of people. So we're gonna bring in right now. 1 second. We have Intrigue Kevin in the house. What's going on?
Greetings, community. Hey, Rod. Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Right, man. Thank you for hanging out on the show right now. More importantly, Kev, because we're gonna have a great time because we got one guy right now. Everyone can see the banner right now on top. Writer of Freak Show, Kevin Roditeli. I'm gonna bring him in the show right now, and let's hang out with him.
Yo, hey, dude, man, the music, the intro music of your show is so fucking dope. I was dancing backstage. I was like, okay, where is my rum and coke? I was in the nightclub, dude.
Yo, that's pretty dope, man. Well, you can get your rum and coke and do whatever you want to do, man. Uh, it's an honor to have you right now on the show. I'm gonna take off the hat because the hat is getting my head hot. We're having a great time right now. First time appearance, ladies and gentlemen. We got Kevin Roditeli in the house.
Wow.
The guy is amazing, and he's gonna talk about a few things. He's a publisher, writer. He has a comic book, and I'll give him a few minutes to talk about that right now.
Right now. Okay. So yeah, my new book. Let's start with the stuff I create. My new book is right now in the previews. The number one. Well, I'm really bad at putting from the camera, but yeah, we got a really beautiful spotlight right now with Freak Snow #1. It's the second series set in the world Freak Snow. The first one was this one, this little tripper back. Wash it in a blood. We still have some copies online on BMN website. And this one, the new Freak Snow series, is an issue format. #1 in the previews. Revenge is a drug. We follow a drug addict in a post-apocalyptic wasteland made of snow and ice. It's pretty much like if Tarantino wrote Mad Max. That's all I can sell really quick. This series. And also, I'm the publisher of a new imprint at BMN Comics named Happy Tank that we focus on mature content in the style of Adult Swim. So we got action comedies and stuff like that coming up. And many licenses. All the brand is 50-50 licenses and creator-owned EPs. So you're going to get some TV shows, movies that you like into comics with us as well.
All right. Yo, that's pretty dope. That's quick. That was the quick
That's
introduction, man. That is a lot, Kevin. I mean,
dude, we are here to give fire to everyone. You know that fire emoji. That's all. That's gonna be the definition of that show.
all right, that is dope. That is dope. Before we keep talking about many things, and I know there are certain things we want to talk about. Kevin, I know you have questions. The chat is open to have questions too. But I gotta mention right now, Kevin, how you got into the business? How you got into the comic world, man?
It's pretty funny because I was not a guy of comics. Like I'd never been into comics before really fucking late in my life. It's when I did go. It's when I did go watch the film Watchmen in theater. I did not know when I was going for the film that it was actually a comic book. It just like I really felt in love with that movie, and I was like 11 or 12 years old when I saw this movie. So yeah, I did see at a pretty young age a blue dick from Dr. Manhattan on screen, but that's another thing. So I saw that movie, and that movie was kind of a, and that movie was kind of a, and now I don't know, did open my eyes on creation. That actually, entertainment could be more than just entertaining and punching bad guys and stuff like that. That you can put a meaning and some deepness into creation. And it's while I did some research on Watchmen, I was like, oh, that's a graphic novel. What's a graphic novel? I was really not interested into comics side. For me, comics was just comics, and graphic novel was not a thing. Even if I don't think it's a thing, just a word that we put to be fancy on comics. Comics is comics. But yeah, so I did go to the local comic book shop and buy the graphic novel of Watchmen. And I felt in love with the medium when I did reach Watchmen, and after I started to pull some stuff and subscribe to some series, and I really started to be addicted to comics because I understood that, yeah, comics is not just like the bad guy of the week that we give a punch in the face and that's it. You know, I understood that comics is way more than that, and writers of comics and artists are fucking intelligent. It's not just like people doing shit for kids, you know. So I'm one of those guys that did actually get into comics because of the films. So it does exist. It does exist. Cinema really bring people to comic book shop. So your MCU is doing great for the industry. I'm pretty sure.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, you are one of those classic cases that people like to hear. And what I mean by that is you started with movies, then went to comics.
Right.
So that's what I mean. It's almost a modern day classic that people want to hear, and that's actually really cool. It's nice to know that people still get inspired to go the other way from film to comics.
Yeah, because personally, no, I'm a fucking big nerd, like all of us that love comics. But I was when I was a teenager, you know, I was the classic like hockey player. I was a cool guy, you know, fucking the cheerleaders at school and stuff like that. But you know, I was in a cool gang, so I was not supposed to be into comics, you know. So I never been interested in comics before because that was not like my circle at school. You know, I was part of the cool gang, so I couldn't touch like the nerd stuff. Even if I was a big nerd, you know, I was playing like 8 hours of video game at home when I was not like stretching shit in the gym, you know. So comic book for me was super late, and it's actually the movie that did introduce me to that. And Zack Snyder worked. Like I'm super happy now that everyone is like, oh, the Snyder cut, because Zack Snyder for me it's one of the most important person in my life, I guess, because Watchmen changed my life, and after I did watch the 300 is kind of another crazy adaptation that he did for comics. I do think that Zack Snyder is a modern master of filmmaking, and I really respect the guy, and I'm super fucking happy that he got his redemption with his Snyder cut, and I can wait. I can't wait for us to stop talking about this shit and just watch a movie and like, oh, okay, now we can stop talking about it, because I feel like, man, it's all along we've been talking about that movie. Like, was Jesus Christ still alive when we were talking about the Snyder cut?
Yo, this
You know what
Snyder
I
cut.
enjoy
We'll have
hearing
to wait
about
and see. Go. I'm sorry, Kevin. Go ahead, bro.
No, I just really
No.
want to say I appreciate the fact that was a film that actually shattered the cliche and the stereotype for you and opened your eyes to that. Hey, wow, not only is this a segue to something that I enjoy writing, but
Right.
now I am open to a world that I thought wasn't really open to me. And that's actually
Right.
really damn cool.
And I think that's something actually not all the stores. There is some stores that are super friendly to more mainstream people, but there is a lot of little, like in my town, the comic book shop was super not inviting for like the mainstream people. You feel that when you were going there that you were not part of the gang. You know, you had like those Western spaghetti eyes looking at you like, You're not part of that
Right.
group. But man, you're closing yourself to new customers that you can turn into nerds because they're gonna touch a comics if they come into your shop. I think that's something that, like any community, I think all communities are like that. You need to be inviting to create new fans, and that's something super important to just because we all have, you know, I think that when we're not into something, we are judging before going into the thing, you know. So in any certain in everything, I guess. Like someone that doesn't smoke weed, we have judgment on someone that smoke weed, you know. Or we can take many example. And when
Sure.
that person that was judging for all his life, the guy that was smoking weed, he started talking with the guy smoking weed, and he's like, "Oh fuck, that guy is like my best brother," and I did not know because I was judging him, you know. And that's the same thing that any communities can do, and I think that's something really important to just welcome those mainstream people that say, "Hey, I didn't watch a movie. Now, which graphic novel I should start with?" Like when someone asks you that, don't say, "Oh, you did not read comic yet." Like just say, "Oh, I think the best one since you did watch WandaVision is probably also Ham or something like that," and then they jump into comics, and that's something important to do.
I love that. I love
Yo,
that. Rod, you were
he,
saying?
uh, he mentioned WandaVision. Holy coconuts. And that blew my mind away last night. So if you guys, I'm not gonna mention it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. Let me gather myself. If you
I didn't
have
watch it
not
mostly.
seen it, I'm not gonna spoil you it. It is freaking dope.
Yeah, it's 1 hour of pure action, and that's super cool for a finale like that. I did really love the final. I think the 2 episodes before the final were my least favorite. I felt like something I think was not moving fast enough for me probably, but I really love the gimmick of the first 3 episodes. But I will not have like consumed more episode of that. I was like, okay, that's cool. The remake of old TV shows, that's cool, but I don't want a full season of that. So I think the transition was kind of cool that we move into another thing. Like the show was super interesting. I'm not someone normally that will jump into a show like that every week and be waiting for it. Uh, and they succeeded to put me into that show. Kevin Feige is a genius. I think he is the greatest producer ever. Now it's a confirmation. That dude never felt with the MCU. Just incredible all their it after it's. And I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with the next phase because man, they cannot like go they cannot make bigger than the end game and the Infinity War. I mean it's impossible. And if they succeed to do that, I think Kevin Feige gonna have like his own statue in every fucking city of the US.
All right. Yo, well said, well said. We could talk about plenty of things right now. I have to acknowledge, man, you the man right now in the house. We got Kevin Roditeli in the house. The chat is popping. I'm not gonna just show everyone's name. Just gonna glitter or duct tape in the house. Joey Bad Fools of 7. What's going on? Flashback Night. What's going on? And John Comics with Kids in the house. What is going on? Thank you all for
Yo
hanging
yo
out.
yo.
Coast to Coast Comics. Oh man, we got plenty to talk about right now. Oh, holy crap, man! Where do I start? I had to take a deep breath. Both you guys are Kevin's, so um, let me see here. Let's see here where we go at right now. This is a tough one. All right, we got. All right, so Kev, man, you got Behemoth,
Yeah.
and then now you have your own thing going on, and people don't know about it. So, how you guys come together, Behemoth? And
So
if people don't know about what I'm talking about, Kevin, I'm going to give you a full explanation.
yeah, dude. So Behemoth Comics was my publishers at first. They published the first fictional books, Washed in Blood, and when they did pick up the book, they were aware that I was working on a company, building my own publishing company, producing company for comics. Maybe it's me and Rob Cannon, the artist of the book. Rob Cannon is my partner since forever in comics, and we were working on that company Happy Thing for a while. And I said to my boy at BMO, because we are friends, first of all, like me and Nathan and Ryan, just the connection. When I did send my first book, it's like I think my submission 5 minutes after was accepted, and we were on the phone. And you know those moments that you get on the phone with someone, and just after the hello, you know that person, the connection is there, and it's gonna go well. So I told them, like, me and Rob Cannon, we're already working on our brand. Let me show what we are doing. If you are interested to get us as an imprint, let's do it. So we were building the imprint. We had some crazy stuff going on, and they just says, "Fuck yeah, let's do it." So we were really tight now. We worked together. We were bringing more Freak Snow because my idea, my dream with Freak Snow is actually making it into a franchise. So right now, we got that first graphic novel, and with the number one right now in the previews, it's kind of the book right now in the previews that I think gonna make it into a franchise or not. So I'm really pushing the artists, and I want a good number artists that justify for me to make a shitload of books. Like I will be crazy if I sell like 1,000 books and say, "Oh, let's do a franchise." It doesn't make sense financially, or just to convince anyone that we are building a franchise. So I really hope that the art is going to be good for that number one, and that we could continue to make as many Freak Snow that we want, because we had like some a really big lore and a world that we want to build up, and bring as many characters that we want. And the next series that we're gonna come out with Happy Thing, my imprint, is an FKZ. You can find the movie of that thing right now on Netflix. So if you are interested, go watch it. The animation is just fantastic of that movie. The movie is freaking beautiful, and the artist writer of the comics is also the director of the film. So you're gonna
Oh wow.
really find, yeah, and the animation of the movie is the same as the artwork in the book. You really feel that it's the same thing and done by the same person. So it's super interesting to watch a movie. And after start with our comics, they're gonna start. The number one will be in the April catalog. So the next catalog, you will find a number one of MFKZ. There you go.
That's really cool. It's really important to have continuity between the two. That way people feel like they're not alienated, or they're watching something totally different from one person to another, or there was a lack of interpretation. But I do want to get back to what you were explaining on, your ambition, in the sense of you didn't just want to seek out and do your own publishing, or you just didn't want to seek out and publish your own book or get it published. You decided to do both. That's a lot of iron. That's a lot of irons to put in a fire. So what I really want to ask, I guess, is how do you manage all of these things at the same time?
So for me, I'm not a creator that gonna release like 20 series a year. It's not like that. My brain works. I'm an entrepreneur first, and after a creator, or at least I'm 50-50. Like I say to everyone, I'm more of an entrepreneur, and everyone just remind me that I'm just always thinking about creation, but I don't create. So I'm maybe 50-50. But for me, it's important to do both. I'm not happy if I'm just like writing and writing. And I don't think that any creators in any form of art right now can just be an artist. If you want to live from your craft, you need to be an entrepreneur as well. It's really important, and because we live in the fucking capitalism. And, I mean, it's cool to create, but at some point, we all have bills to pay. So you need to be an entrepreneur to go somewhere in that industry. And for me, why I really wanted my imprint and be a publisher, and just to be 100% in control of what I do and what I gonna release personally, and not like any other creators that are stuck with, oh, I have a pitch, I need to find a publisher, but I cannot release it because I don't have a publisher for that series. I don't want to be in that position. I wanted to be sure that, okay, I want to work on that shit. I can release that shit, and have the distribution I want with Diamond, Simon and Schuster's, and all that. Those I can reach a retail, with my stuff, and that was my strategy behind, and that's what I wanted as first. And also because I make weird books for weird people, so I wanted to be sure my people. I wanted to be sure that I could publish with my entrepreneurial ambition other people that will not maybe have publishings without having a freak like me dealing with the publishing of their books. So I really wanted to be sure that I bring to the market books that will not come to market because they're too much marginal, but when they will reach the store, everyone will be like, oh, that's fucking cool. And my philosophy is all about what I said at the beginning of the show. I think that people are scared of what they don't understand. But when you put something in their hand and they start going through it, they get comfortable with it. It's just all about the marketing and all selling those shit. So you can sell. I think everything is sellable. You can sell everything, and it's all about the marketing and how you project and how you share to the world the product. And that's the problem of a lot of creators. They say, for example, it's just an indie book. It's not an indie book. You're making a comics. Your comics should be comparable to what Image Comic does, even if you're not published by Image Comics. You are in the same market. You should not I find that crazy how people break the value of their own product and say like, oh, it's just like a little book. They don't be fucking confident. If you're not confident in your product, how do you want people to believe in you and your product? And that's the most important thing for me. This shit is a fucking masterpiece. Grab it. It sounds super arrogant, and I know it is, but it's like that. It's you build a confidence in the right readers. Like, why will you give me $10 to buy my book when there is on the shelf all the DC, Marvel, Image Comics by creators that has 300,000 followers if I don't believe myself in my own stuff? Right. So that's why I'm gonna say this is a masterpiece. Grab it. And if you don't like my book, send me an email. I'm gonna give you a refund. So now you have a reason to buy it instead of Batman 100 something.
Wow.
Yo, it's right there, man. I mean, it's everyone can see it. I mean, it's no secret. I'm scrolling back right now, and
thank you, Omi.
Scrolling back on the other screen. Here we go, man.
Well said.
So there it is, and yo, man, how you came up with Happy Tank Comics?
I don't really remember. It's pretty funny because we had another name 2 days before launching. It's actually
give a preview of it.
Yeah. The other name that we had was Food Wreck, but the Diamond Rep said just before putting in the catalog our shit, like, a Food Wreck sound too much foreign for American audience, and you could just like lose sales out of that. And we're just like, oh, you might be right. We can just put in words that people understand. So we did switch to the Happy thing, but I don't understand. I don't remember all we did there. Just brainstorm. We did brainstorm some words, and after we just put some shit together and was like, Happy thing, and there was the Happy thing, There you go.
Pretty cool.
And I was saying, Rob and I were privy to actually be able to read this story, and this story, Freaks Know, is which I like how you did it from the word. I mean, it does stick in a person's head because they're always correct, forces them to remember it. I like that, and the story is. And then like science and all humanity, culture, and all that is kind of forgotten, right?
Right, totally.
And so we're taking upon in the story that you start off. It starts off as an adventure story, seemingly, but then turns about 14 pages into it into a psychological story.
Right.
So can you tell us how you made these multiple transitions? And then also, I would love for you to touch on down the road, Rob Cannon, because the way he does the art in it, it seems that he's stressing in his art the aspects of what's splintering in the mind of the teller of the story. So I would love for you to carry us through this adventure if you could.
Sure.
No
So.
spoilers, though. No.
Oh no! I want. I won't, because I want a maximum of people in that chat to buy that book. So you can pre-order it now at your local comic book shop. uh, so yeah, we start with like 10-15 page that is really action driven, and you're just like in a classic post-apocalyptic thing that you see some survivors fighting another survivor, classic fight, and that's what we really wanted, like classic setting of post-apo. And at some point, just after the fight, things get weird. Like something happened, and the character chef, he takes some drugs and start talking with some weird friends that are not there or there. You're not sure, but he is super high, and he started having a conversation about just the battle that he just had. And in that battle, something that happened that just doesn't make sense. And after, because it doesn't make sense, the guys start asking questions to him because his wife and his daughter did disappear a few days ago. And because of that battle and all the events, they're just like, wait a minute, did you kill your family? And you just go on the mission while he is super high with two friends that are not there. Uh, he is on the quest to find if he did kill his family or not. But he really don't know. He is super high walking in that wasteland, So, and so there is kind of a it's a mix of action, comedy, and even drama, because it's super. It, it's a reflection on addiction and where it can bring someone, because it's a father figure that, because of his addiction, he kind of forgot his own family, and we go through that father. All he did was addiction. All he did affect his family, and you will see the next issues. We go deeper in the psychological of the mindset of a family living with a member of the family that has a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction, and that's pretty much what the story is about. Through that tale of the wasteland, trying to find who you are in that world while dealing with addiction and trying to find a way to be a good person, even if you're stuck in your own world in some way because you're taking that substance, And that's a series, 4 issues mini series that you follow that freak. 4 issues. We follow that freak Bernie, and that's the concept of freaks now. Each stories follow a different freak. The first one was Krellix. That one is with Bernie, and if that one with Bernie is successful, we'll be sure to bring more free on the table. Because my dream with that EP, I really want to get produced. That's my ultimate dream with it. I want to get produced an intelligical show, TV show, like Black Mirror or that type of show. But each episode is a different freak in the wasteland. So it's always different, but it's a post-apocalyptic anthology show that we always switch freak in that wasteland. I will love doing that. And I think it will be like anyone that loves post-apocalyptic shit. I think it's kind of a dream show to have like one episode each time is someone in that post-apo that we follow, all he live, survive, and we see other characters that we have seen previously in the other episode if they're in the same territory and shit. And I will love to turn that thing into that. But yeah,
wow.
If we can, and we can talk about Rob Cannon as well. Rob Cannon, he is an incredible artist. He has really good sense of lettering and visual. The lettering of Rob Cannon is all over the place, and how to make feel the reader that everything is crazy, And I can take this one because this one is printed, but we have some crazy lettering just to show what Rob does with
right now. Glitter and duct tape just dropped.
There you go. So the lettering is all over the place like that in Freak Snow, and it just show all the characters are crazy. And we have a lot of page like that. We put lettering everywhere, and because those characters all have voices in their head, and it's and all it's built. That story is a trilogy. So the first one we were following the son. If the second one is the father figure, and the third one will be the mother. So we you kind of go into all the aspect of a family, you know. So even if they're different characters that are not part of the family, but it's more all a parent deal with issues into families through a metaphor of a post-apocalyptic world. So that's pretty much what we do with Free Snow. So it's can look in surface like something that is not deep, it's just post-apocalyptic shit and some swear word there and and there with some dick jokes. But I think we created something special, and I can't wait for people to read it and tell me what they think about it.
I personally thoroughly enjoyed it. It was something that when I first got into the first few pages, I was like, okay, I think I got to feel what's going on. It was a little challenging for me to try to grasp what was happening because so much was happening, and very action packed until the scenes that you're saying stop you in your tracks of going, okay, we're going to stop this momentum. What we're going to do is now we're going to make it all psychological. Hey, Greg.
What's
Yo
going
yo
on?
yo!
And that's
Dude,
where
I was
it hit
hoping
me
I was
hard.
hoping for a
There's a lot more here.
I was
You
hoping for a good
How
intro
you
there,
doing?
Rod. Dude, I'm doing great. Rod told me that he was having Kevin on. I was like, dude, I gotta hop on. That's my dude.
and you never disappoint with your fucking beer.
I got I got two Kevins, man. And the guys are rocking out the house, man. Um, holy coconuts. I'm on the hat of you guys in the house. You know, in Roditeli's in the house. Is in the house right now. And Kevin, you were speaking a few words a few seconds ago.
Oh, I was
No.
I was just basically saying I'm liking how he put it together and how it's goes from the adventure to the psychological forms in the story. And to me, it's actually rather interesting on the timeline that when you launched this, and the reason why is because you're describing these addictions. You're describing the formula in which that this individual takes and how it's a representation of addiction. But at the same point, you touched on isolation. Well, I think all of us at this point in the past 11 months or plus can kind of relate to the isolation in some regards that this person is dealing with, even if not all of us can relate to the addiction, if that makes sense. So I
Totally.
found it interesting when the person is sitting there going, having all these voices or interacting or doing all this stuff. I'm thinking, I think everyone can relate to moments of what I was reading at some point in the past 11 months. So I think it's very poignant that you're launching this title at this time. So good timing.
I believe so as well. And I think it's really interesting what you're saying because I feel as well with the COVID right now. I think pretty much all my friends are telling me like, man, when that shit had shut down, I started to drink so much. Like it's kind of since you cannot go out and have hobbies and shit like that, it's like way more easier to like open a beer and sit down because you have just that fucking thing to do, And I feel that
Right.
COVID has bring some addiction to people that we did not had. Like, oh, now my friend is drinking like a bottle of wine every night, and before it was like one each 2-3 days. And same thing for like my pothead friends. Like it's more like, oh, now it's a blunt every 30 minutes. While before, because they had some movements, they were doing some shit and going outside. Well, sometimes they forget about smoking their blunt and it was like one a day or two a day. And now it's more just like, oh yeah, cool, dude. So I think that addiction did take a place in our life with that COVID at some point. all in some form. Not an addiction is not necessarily bad. You know, you can be addicted to reading
Mine
comics.
Yeah, mine is this too. I have a soda
There you
problem
go.
that went way up there during the COVID time. You know, it was getting insane.
Of course, because you're pretty much always sit down at your place, and when we were sit down, what we do, we just open the can and we start like reading, we start watching a movie. You know, so it's easier to actually be more comfortable with distraction like that we will not be normally. And I think that, and it's pretty fun because I did not realize all that book was actually actual to the moment. So it's pretty cool that you pointed out this. So every shop owners should order like 1,000 copy each because everyone gonna relate to it.
I think what Kev actually was saying, Kevin, is that
Look at
you caused this pandemic with your book.
Fuck!
Get a little shot to the side. He had a little
Whatever works.
So guys, that stream gonna be shut down because I gotta tell everyone that I'm a reptilian. Under that skin, there is some. So maybe you're gonna be banned from YouTube or something like that because we're saying the truth right now. You know, Alex Jones is in the house. Be careful.
All right. Whoa, wait a minute, man. We're hanging out right now. This is an interview. We're hanging out with Kevin Roditeli. Yo, guys. Roditeli. We got
I love all you said, dude.
It's going to be dropping soon. What was that? And there's many interviews. There's 2 interviews on Computer Bros channel, and you can check out Kevin hanging out with the Computer Bros. And so check those out. I did. I was like hanging out with you. I was watching the interviews. I was like, all right, got little tips. Thank you. But man, you guys got some good beers, good ears, and yeah. Well, this is probably us here in the house. We're gonna do a little rapid fire, man.
Ooh.
Boom, 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 boom. Kevin. Here we go, man. Get ready for the rapid fire. And if you have no idea, pretty sure Kevin and Beer already know better than 5 questions, 1 answer. Just boom with your answer. Boom.
All right.
That being said, okay. Beer grab this gigantic mic. He's
stepping it up, Rob.
Questions or leave it to the chat. Let's see here.
Oh, you want us to come up with rapid fire questions for Kevin?
Well, with the chat or whoever. All right. So 1 question, 1 answer.
Okay.
Prepare yourself, man, because you think the Freaks Know is a good comic book. I believe it is. Yeah. I hate snow. I'm in the worst part of Florida. I wish I was back up north to enjoy the snow.
No, you don't want to enjoy the snow.
If that makes any sense. I want to, man. I hate this so damn hot. All right, let's see. Right now. I got a question.
You got questions, Rod, or you want us to come up with the rapid fire?
I got one.
Oh, you
Go for it.
Well, you go. All right, here we go. Go for it.
All right. It's actually a split question. So What age were you when you went to your first major amusement park, and what ride was it?
I don't fucking know. Probably. But I don't know. Maybe like 4 or 5 years old, I guess. And it was
Okay.
La Ronde. It was La Ronde in Montreal, which is a Six Flag. Yeah, La Ronde in Montreal, and I did go to Canada Wonderland and another one in Niagara Falls as well. But that's pretty much a 3 theme park I did. I don't have like some crazy theme park stories. I did not like see a guy having his head cut by something while we were into it. Like I don't have. I was not part of Final Destination 1,100.
Kevin, you make it seem like a lot of people have those stories. I've been to theme parks a lot of times. I've never seen the person's head caught on.
No.
Man, well, I thought so. Man, did you watch on HBO? There is a documentary about a crazy theme park that everyone is kind of breaking their fucking legs and shit.
It was in like New Jersey or New York. It was
something like that.
Action Park or
Really?
something.
Yeah, Action Park.
Yeah, and Johnny Knoxville made a movie in reference to that a couple years ago. But yeah, it's crazy. Like they literally they're like, let's do a water slide with a loop-de-loop, and and people were getting wrecked. People were getting wrecked in it, and then so they were sending people down, and they were paying lifeguards to go down because it was so unsafe. They're like, hey, we're $100, and their backs were getting ripped up, and they're like, what is going on?
Right.
So finally they figured out there were people's teeth and things from that falling out that were stuck in stuff that were scratching on people's backs because it was just bug wild.
When you watch the documentary, it's fucking crazy, but because they always tell there was no engineer on that. We just how the loop was cool. We put a fucking dummy into it, and if the dummy was not destroyed, we'll put real human into it.
It's if your 8-year-old cousin was like, "Hey, draw what you would think would be a fun ride for an amusement park," and these guys were got investors to pay for it, and they're like, "Let's do it."
Fucking crazy. And if I remember, they were giving $20 to a kid to try it and they were the safety control guy or something.
Dude, I think it finally shut down after the third person died or something, but they literally had their own
I was about to plan a road trip with the family.
Well, if you have a family member that have good insurance, maybe it's a good plan.
If you have HBO Max, it's definitely worth watching because they interview all the employees that work there, and they just talk about how it was buck wild all the time.
Oh my god!
But all right, here's my rapid fire question.
That was my question.
Here's my rapid fire question for you, Kevin.
With the rapid fire.
Yeah.
What is the best comic book besides your own that you've read recently?
That's a good question. I think it's from a Kickstarter. Midnight Highway from Alex Madey and Mike Tennant. It's fucking great. And I want to publish it, so I'll continue to say it's great. So they just released the first issue through Kickstarter, and there is a second one that they're working on it right now, and it's going to be a small trade paperback with the number 1 and number 2. And the first one is brilliant, and I really want to get that series, and I need to send them a contract now. So yeah, it's probably going to be a Happy Thing title. So you got some exclusive right now. But yeah, it's super great. So if you have the chance to grab that thing, you need to. I just got today my Berserker number 1. I can't wait to read it because I think that fucking comics is changing the whole industry. I believe that we're going back into a 90s period. I think that we're gonna see again the 1 million copy comics, and that one gonna be because they had 7,000 something, 100,000 something, and with the reorders and shit like that, they're gonna break the million. I'm pretty sure with the number 1 of Berserker. So, and I think that we are getting in a really interesting era of comic books, and we are super into that right now at BMT, and we're trying to contact actors and shit like that. I feel that we are getting the era of the actor comic books. Comics gonna be casted now. that you're gonna bring some actors of Hollywood that work on film and shit like that and put them on comics. Of course, not all the comics, but the comics that add a budget and a publisher. If they want a flagship title to do great numbers, now we have the blueprint with Keanu Reeves. You just shared that actor. Hey, dude, the Hollywood Reporter link that say Keanu Reeves just sold 800,000 million copies of his comics and gonna be starring in the movie that it's let's all be honest about it. There is already a movie in work, and they just don't say it because it's all part of the PR trying to sit like in a month just to have like another boost on the of sales on the reprint. That's part of the strategy of Boom right now. There is already a movie, and that's where we are going with comics. Trust me, every fucking publisher gonna have a flagship title with an actor attached to it, and trust me, right now every big publisher is fighting to grab actors and bring actors to their label and sign Jason Momoa, to sign any fucking big name like Henry Cavill, anyone, Tom Holland, anyone that's it's big and related to the pop culture, gonna have their own book and be co-creator and sell a million copies. That's where I think we're going. That's gonna be a really interesting age of comic books, and the sales gonna go up, and that's good for every books. Because if each publisher has a comic by a famous actor and sell a million copy, it's meaning that stuff like Freak Snow or other little in terms of sales series gonna go up because the customer base of comic book shop is gonna go up. And when you go to a comic book shop, it's pretty rare that a customer just grab one issue. When you go to a comic book shop, you look around. You look around and you see something that can connect with you, and you grab it as well. When you go for you go there for something, but you go out with a lot of things. When you go to a comic shop. So I think that all the sales going to go up, and we already feel it. Like in the COVID, while the COVID was going on, weirdly the sales of publishers True Diamond did go up, and that's pretty interesting to see. Of course, with the pandemic, I think that more people read and have time to read because they're at home. But I think that we are going really interesting age for comics.
So, who out of your last book, Freak Snow, if you could cast someone in it in a movie, who would you cast in one of your books?
If we take that one, if we take that one, and I do a fan cast, I will say that Timothy Chalamet is the main character. That guy.
Oh yeah.
That's who I will put. I will cast into it. And after, I did not really think about it honestly.
Bearded comic girl, isn't it?
Yeah, he could be like a badass dude punching someone, killing a couple of people. I have no problem with that. But yeah, Timothy Chalamet will be my dude. Pull off those emotional scene and shit.
I like it.
Oh, you guys, man. There's a bunch of people in the chat. And I want to say hello to Glitter and Duct Tape. What's going on? I'm not going to pull them up because it's going to take too much time. We're hanging out with a cool panel right now. We got Perry Comics. Oh, Lord. Good Lord Almighty. He's in the house. What's going on, my friend, man? The master reaction guru. We got Fable. What's going on, Fable? You know how you do.
Fable.
Hey, shut your pie hole. And I think we're up to date right now.
So the story of Freak
With
Snow,
that
what
being
inspired
said,
it?
man.
What did inspire Freak Snow is basically my love for video games like Fallout and Borderlands, and my hate of winter, because I hate winter, and I live in Quebec where we have a fucking huge winter every winter season. So while that thing was going on outside, I was playing Fallout and Borderlands all day long, and and that was my inspiration. Just like combining my love for those games and my hate for winter into one thing, you know. So that's all Freak Snow did get. Well, that Frankenstein did come alive like that.
That's a true love hate comic book. That's awesome.
There you go. I think that the best love stories are like that. You know, it's a mix of hate and love.
That's great.
Pretty dope, man. I had to say it, man. Pretty neat to hang on Kevin Roditeli. It's amazing what you're doing, and
Thank you,
I
dude.
want to show something real quick because this is pretty neat. I'm gonna screen share this once I get my version right here. Add to the stream, and when I saw this was pretty dope. This was 1 second. He can launch his new publishing imprint at the tank. So that was pretty neat that came from First Comic News. So I had to, show that. And as we scrolled in, that was back in February. And there it is, man. That was pretty neat. Seeing that, and I was just like, that's pretty dope, man.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Pretty nice.
We've been working on that for 3 years in the background, so I was super excited to finally come out with the company. You know, it was a long build up of doing that because Freak Snow is a thing, but that company was, I guess, bigger than that because I'm dealing with books from other people as well. There is a responsibility that comes with that, and so, and we got a pretty interesting lineup. We got a lot of shit coming out, and I can't wait to share all of this. So we started first announcing 3 series. Of course, the new Freak Snow Revenge is a Drug, MFKZ, the adaptation of the movie right now on Netflix, and the third one is Cinnamon. And Cinnamon by Victoria Douglas. I will never stop talking about her. Her work is amazing. I think that everyone, when you're going to see Cinnamon, the third series we're going to release, that's going to be in the May previous catalog, her artwork is amazing. I think she's going to be one of the breakout talent of this year. And I'm so excited to be the first one publishing her stuff. I think she's going to have a great career into comics because she has a unique look into her artwork, and as well she is super hardworking, and I believe that she could be the next Peach Momoko, and be everywhere in a year or two after that series because she is fucking great on covers, but she is a really good interior artist as well, and her writing is super funny. Cinnamon, we follow a cat that is schizophrenic and believe that he is a super badass guy on a bike, but he is just like in his apartment of the owner, of the cat, and what he wants is to get the cat named. So that's basically the story. And with the crazy artwork of Victoria, that she's gonna be the next big thing in comics, I'm pretty sure. And that's what's cool about comics, about publishing. It's I have the chance to make shine or publish people I really believe in that maybe no other one would give a chance. Or well, it's fun to be the one that has the chance to give the chance to someone. So I'm super excited to share those stuff, and it's the same thing for MFKZ. That's something that that EP when I was young, like I don't know, 12, 13 years old, that was my favorite comics, in French, and to bring it to the US, something super exciting for me. It's kind of a kid dream.
I can definitely feel your energy, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to be really grateful for the fact that there is an avenue, another option that they could possibly pursue to someone that to help publish their book, and I think you, along with a few other people that are really passionate about, pushing their own publishing and developing another company. I think you guys are a real big breath of fresh air to the industry. So when you were talking about, you see the industry heading towards something as big as it was in the 90s, the difference is there wasn't as many passion companies is there is nowadays, and you meet, in my opinion, being a model of one such company. The cool thing is
Thank
there
you.
are companies like that are coming into into the face of other companies and challenging them. And I think,
And you,
if nothing else, that's the breath that this industry really needed to resuscitate an industry to be the size that you had described it used to be in the 90s.
and it's gonna be, and the two reasons why I think why we are getting so passionate people again into the corporate administrative part of the business is because there is no money in indie comics right now. So you're doing it for passion, nothing more. You don't get millionaire right now in the market we are. You don't get millionaire making indie comics. That's impossible. It's not like in the 90s that you can just come out with a piece of crap, put it on the shelf, and sell 400,000 copies, even if it's the worst book on the market at the moment. We are not at that moment of the industry. So if you're making comics right now, it's because you fucking love comics. There is no other reason. You cannot be there for money. So that's why I think that the comics industry is going to go up. And the other thing that the actor is going to bring back into the comics industry is Rockstar in the comics industry. Because for a while, the comic book industry did forget that back in the 90s, creators were as big as movie directors, actors, and all those type of peoples in the entertainment fairs. Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Liefeld, they were going out on the street and being recognized by people. They were as big as other entertainment form. A musician could be recognized like a comic book creators in the 90s because the industry and the people that were driving the industry, that were the image guys, were convincing people that they were the cool shit, like rock stars. And that's what made comics sell. Because people were buying them for the personality. They were buying them for the celebrities behind, And that's the big difference right now with comics is creators, the industry itself has been for a while telling people that comic books was an inferior medium, like just a merchandise for licenses, or something that people does for hobby because every indie creator has a side job and that's just what they do overnight. And that's going to be a shift, I think, with the actors and the new generation of passionate people.
It is a reverse now. Whereas in the past, what you made mention was true. It used to be a product line was made after which the success was done, maybe a cartoon or a comic book. But now the reverse is possible to where you can go ahead and utilize the medium of the comic to launch a particular idea, movie, or even a toy line first, and that is being done. You are
right.
Correct.
So I think that the reverse, we're gonna go back into that phase because of the actors and the passionate people that did get into comics because there were no money. Because the best hustlers, the best businessmen get born into an industry when there is no money to make. Because you cannot, I think there is no better person to tank. The best way to think is when you're broke. When you're broke, you start having the best ideas that you never had. You could not have if you're a millionaire. Because when you're broke, you're looking for fucking money. You need money to survive.
Right.
And that's what interesting right now. The comics industry in general are the out of the 1% of the people making money are broke. So creators are putting the best ideas. I think the indie comics has never been that of a high quality, and at the same time, creators are really giving the all in and want to shine and be someone in that industry. And I think that's what is really interesting. And combining with the actors, we're gonna get into that rock star era.
Well said. Hanging out with Karen Roditeli in the house. Heavily great talk with Kevin. We got coming through the bearded one. Right. Yo, at that hour mark, we gotta bounce out of here. I'm gonna call the wifey and all that good stuff. and video chat with her. More importantly, um, when do your comic book drop? Let the people know.
So May 26th, the first issue drop in comic book store. But right now is the moment to order it at your comic book shop. It's right now. You have until the end of the month to pre-order your copy. So it's right there in the previous catalog at the page 248. You go there, you got a really beautiful spotlight on, and something really cool. The cover C of the series, the cover C right there. We give all the money to the Hero Initiative, a charity that help comic book creators that are in need for financial or health. And I think that's why I did choose that charity for the comics right now. It's just because I think it makes sense right now in the pandemic to help creators, those heroes that forges that industry and made us dream for years with their creation. There is some that are in financial problem right now, like in every industry, of course, but those are the one that made us passionate, that made us have a chat tonight and talk about comics and be loving comics and share them, making them even. So I think for me, it was important to give back. And since now I'm into a publishing position, my first thing I wanted to do as a publisher is to give back to those that made me do this. So that's how I did it. So there is a cover. In the previews, you order it. We give all the money to the Hero Initiative to help comic book creators in needs.
That's awesome.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you. So
Pretty
if
dope,
someone
man.
want to be generous, order 100 copies of that cover, and it goes out to the charity. And you boost my sales numbers as well. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. You give to charities.
That's a tax write-off, right?
That's what I was wondering. I think
It's-
so.
It's pretty cool. Like last year, Mainframe Comic Con, they did their thing last year, and all proceeds, if you bought something, went to Hero and the initiative that went to them. So that's pretty neat. And you're doing your thing right now, kid. So that's pretty awesome. So I just gotta drop that right now. So it's pretty neat, man.
Thank you, dude. It's really appreciated. I mean, we all love the same thing, that is comics. So I think we should support each others. I don't understand the competition between creators and stuff like that. We all here to make the comic book industry brighter and more healthy. And I think that's really important to support each of us. And even if you don't like what the other creator does, well, there is readers that love his shit, and I think it's really important to just be. But it's maybe me that is like that, but I want to be over positive about everything, because I think that we are at a changing point right now in the comic book industry, and we just need to support each other's, because if we do it right now, believe me, in 5 years the comic industry is going to be totally different, and the top 100 of comics are gonna be over 100,000 copies each, not just the top 10 like right now. I'm fucking sure.
All right, man. Well said. So we gotta end the show right now, man. We're hanging out with the man himself. Yo. Good Lord, man. Mr. Roditeli in the house. We got our panel members. We got Kevin in the house. We got the Mr. Beard in the house. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out. I know you guys probably want to ending this so fast. I could tell when the bearded guy is looking at the wifey and like this. We gotta cut it. We gotta cut it, man. We gotta cut it because that's how things are, man. Thank you so much for hanging out on a special edition on Coast to Coast Comics, hanging out with comic book creator, writer, the whole 9 yards, man. And you can find his links in the description below. I believe I put them there. And yo, this guy, yo, he's been he's been on this guy's show a couple times on the Bearded Man show. He's been on your show, and I've watched your videos, man. So it's pretty dope.
absolutely.
Nice to
That's
hang
why-
out with.
That's why when you were when we were talking, you said that Kevin was coming on. I was like, man, Rod, you're gonna have a blast because Kevin is always gonna bring the energy. And I was like, and I'm gonna hijack the show at the end because I gotta say hi to my homie. So
Thank you. But thank you for having me, guys. I always have so much fun doing those shows. You know, it's so fun just to share with others what you do and what we all
I'm
love.
so
And it's
nervous.
comics, so it's always a pleasure.
So
And
nervous.
man, the Beer Brother is the fucking man. So it's super cool to see him tonight. So
And this guy here, man, Kevin, man, Entropy in Comics, he's the one that he always tried to relax me. Yo, Rob, you got this, man. Just relax, man. There's nothing new. He's a cool dude, man. But I always get so nervous when I hang out with, if I have to do an interview. But like this, I like doing like this. So I may do more interviews, man. The whole panel, and then we just do a whole bunch of shit.
thank you, dude.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out on a special edition of Coast to Coast Comics. Don't forget to check out the comic books, man. The comics and Happy Tank. Check them out right now. The Hero Comics, the whole 9 yards, man. But thank you so much, guys, for hanging out. We out
thank
of
you,
here.
Rod.
Thank you for having
Guys,
me,
don't
man.
go nowhere.
Thank you, Rod.
It was a
Appreciate it.
pleasure.